Thank you, Dr. Dunn. Last week, we finished the first round of the Utah Leads Together Small Business Bridge Loan Program. The program's targeted to small businesses with fewer than 50 employees and awards 0% interest loans for 5 years, with the first payment due 1 year after the loan is received. The loans range from $5,000 to $20,000 or no more than 3 months operating expenses. We had about 2,700 businesses that began the application process, and just over 1,000 completed the process before the deadline and were reviewed for the first round. Our team worked like true superheroes to evaluate those applications and awarded $6.1 million in loans to 502 businesses. The businesses represented all areas of the state and a wide variety of industries. Over 27% of the funding went to businesses in rural Utah. 444 checks went out in the mail last Friday, with the remainder to follow shortly. Round 2 of funding for the Small Business Loan Program opened this morning and will run through Thursday at noon. We're pleased to announce that nonprofit organizations are available for this round of funding. Businesses that applied for the first round but were unsuccessful will have their applications automatically resubmitted for round 2. We have $4.9 million of state funding to award in the second round. Plus, I'd like to give a special acknowledgement to Workers' Compensation Fund, a great company that has worked with many small businesses here in Utah over the years. Through their foundation, they have added $1 million to the loan fund out of a desire to help small businesses during this difficult time. With their generous addition, we will have a total of $5.9 million to award in the second round. To apply for the small business loan, businesses should go to the coronavirus.utah.gov website, click on the business page, and look for the link to the loan application. Once again, the application must be completed by Thursday at noon. Our team from GoEd, other state agencies, and volunteers from the private sector will once again power through these applications like the Incredible Hulk to get them reviewed and awarded and the checks in the mail by the end of next week. The purpose of this program is to provide loans to help small businesses survive until they access other funds through the Small Business Loan Emergency Program or the Payroll Protection Program from the federal government, and then hopefully help them return to normal operation when that time comes. Thank you. Are there any questions?
Thank you. Can we get those numbers again, or are they going to be available from GoEd after this press conference? And what is the governor's office and GoEd having to say about when some businesses might be open or a soft opening?
Well, we are working with the governor's office, as Dr. Dunn said, and the people who are making those decisions in looking at the data, the facts, and trying to decide when the right time is to reopen the economy and to roll it out. We are following their lead. This loan program, again, is designed to try to help businesses through that period and to help access other funds that may be available through the federal government and other places, other agencies, and other means.
Hi, what's the criteria that you're using to evaluate those loan applications?
There are a number of criteria. Obviously, the number of employees that they have, whether there are multiplier effects to their businesses, the impact that they have in their community. There are a number of them that are listed on the website that you can see that we use to evaluate them. We had a team of about 25. Each of the awardees was reviewed about 5 times through the process and awarded a score. And the evaluators are people from the private sector, from the banking industry, from GoEd, and from other state agencies. We've had a really good team. They spent not the Easter weekend, but the previous weekend reviewing most of those 1,000 applications, and we really appreciate their volunteering to help get this to happen so quickly.
Hi there. I saw someone post on Facebook. He was denied in the original round, and he says to the governor, "You shut my business down. That should qualify us for assistance. If the state is going to force me to close my doors, then I think the state should pay my bills. Right now, we don't have any revenue." What would you say to folks like this who are frustrated?
Well, obviously, it's difficult when you have as many people who've applied for the limited funds that we have. That person, his or her business will be resubmitted to the second round of funding and may still get funded. We just simply don't have sufficient funding to fund all of the businesses, and I wish that there were opportunities to do that, but it's just the way it is.
And will the list of all the businesses that were accepted, is that public record?
Right now, we don't have it as public record, but it's certainly something we can consider.
Thank you for taking my question, Val Hale. This is Michael Orton with the Capitol News Service. Given the fact that we discussed with Dr. Dunn the potential for a second wave of the epidemic, we're also interested in understanding how this will work with the Utah Leads Together plan, going from urgency to transitioning to stability, and how you're going to deal with that.
Well, I think many of us now are, given the hopeful signs that we see in some of these trends, are starting to talk about that transition to the stabilization phase. And I think that's going to be critical as we go from essentially, this urgency phase where many businesses have been shut down or at least minimized significantly. It's going to be critical for us to start talking about what we can do to help that stabilization phase and then on to normalization and the phase that comes after that. And so we're hopeful. I know in our office we're starting to talk about what we can do to try to help facilitate that critical stabilization phase. And hopefully that's not too far away.
Can you give us some insight into the process here and the dialogue between you and the health officials? Because it seems like there's some creative tension that would exist there. They want us to be safe and healthy, but that also includes the economic health that you oversee. So can you give us some insight as to how that dialogue goes?
Well, the governor has said that they should not be considered mutually exclusive of each other. Obviously, health and welfare comes first, but economic health and economic welfare is also right there with it. His approach has been that we're going to consider them both, we're going to look at them both, and we're going to try to come out of this with as strong an economy as we possibly can have. And I think that's the approach that Utah's taken. And I think it's the approach that a lot of states are looking at because we've had success in both areas. And I know that this has been an extremely trying time for many in our business community. And we hope that by getting the health part of it taken care of as well, we can come out more quickly than we would have otherwise.
So we're understanding then that within the cabinet, the governor's going to make a decision here. Wondering also if you have any idea about, there's some information coming from the Northeast. Governors are doing coalitions to try and make decisions about this since the virus knows no state boundaries. Do you know if the governor's involved in the Western Governors Association for this purpose?
Well, I know that the governor has regular calls with the National Governors Association, and the White House, so I'm sure he's very much involved with other governors in this conversation. Thank you very much. We appreciate your help. Thanks.